Good morning, everybody. Top of the morning to you. This January 25th, 2023. Got a big story for you guys today. Zeldin calls out America's most forgettable and laziest senator. What exactly does that mean? There's a new form of the Guardian Angels popping up in the Bronx on Fordham Road because apparently the police are not allowed to do their jobs, as we have seen throughout the years. Babylon School District now moves to fire two teachers who apparently have been getting a little handsy with the students. We got a bunch of big stories for you guys today. But before we get started, if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're watching on Rumble, hit the Rumble button. Share this video out across all your platforms. On Facebook, make sure you tag your friends. Invite them to like the page so that we can keep growing. Sorry, let me fix this mic here. But a lot is going on. We've got an update on a few other stories that we're going to be talking about. Sorry for the late start this morning. But the one big story, there's no way of getting around it, and you're not going to see it on local media. You're not going to see it pretty much anywhere else but here, because why would we give this guy any credit? This from Town Hall, from Katie Pavlich over at Town Hall. Zeldin blasts New York's laziest and most forgettable senator. After nearly beating New York Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul in November, former Republican Congressman Zeldin is plotting his next move. Earlier this month, Democratic Senator Kristen Gillibrand announced her re-election campaign for 2024. Quote, ending months of speculation about her future, Senator Gillibrand, a liberal Democrat from upstate New York, announced in recent days that she would seek a third term next year. The New York Times reported on Thursday, Ms. Gillibrand said that she was confident she would win despite Republicans' strong performance in the state in November. She also dismissed rumors that had been swirling among New York Democrats in recent months that she may give up the seat. But it appears Zeldin could challenge Gillibrand for the seat, especially fresh off of Republican victories in the Empire State. When asked about a potential challenge, Gillibrand insisted she will beat Zeldin. Now, there's not a lot coming out about this story, although I will say that Kristen Gillibrand is certainly going to find herself in a bit of a hole, because there's no doubt she will be primaried from her left. There is no doubt someone will jump in from the left, whether it's a Maya Wiley, failed mayor candidate, or, of course, the estimable, the incredible, the so wise, so young AOC, the smartest among us, according to the left. There's no doubt that they will be eyeing that seat. Kristen Gillibrand is an incredibly weak senator. The difference between her and Chuck Schumer in the last election, and this is incredibly important to understand, is that Chuck Schumer is a national face with a $40 million war chest. He's got celebrity behind him with his completely non-funny, useless cousin Amy Schumer and all of her celebrity friends. It's a lot of money behind you. Kristen Gillibrand just does not have that. Not to mention, she's kind of boring. She doesn't really do a whole hell of a lot. And that's not me saying that as a member of the right. That's me saying that just as an objective news viewer. Can you name me one thing Kristen Gillibrand has done since she's been in office, aside from taking over a seat run by Hillary Clinton? It's important to understand that when it comes to the differences between a Schumer and a Gillibrand, it's glaring, the differences. Like I said, she doesn't have the sort of national pull. She doesn't have the sort of money behind her. She certainly doesn't have the charisma. I mean, Chuck Schumer can at least speak in public. He does it all the time. Kristen Gillibrand on the debate stage in 2022, I mean, she was an afterthought. She was so far down the row, you couldn't even see her when she tried to run for the Democratic nominee for president. Why did she do that? I have no idea. Did she actually think she was going to win? Of course not. So who knows what could happen there. This from Kristen Gillibrand in a News 12 article. She will beat him, Gillibrand says of Zeldin, if he decides to run in 2024. She likes her chances a lot. He disagrees. Tough talk from this is a good one. Tough talk from New York's laziest and most forgettable senator in generation. Senator What's-Her-Name only says this because she is in a state with many millions more Democrats than Republicans. If the Democratic enrollment advantage was 2 million, that wouldn't be enough. She'd be toast. That's tough talk. That's tough talk coming from the big guy from the East End. I like it. I like it a lot. A lot of people have been speculating what he's going to do next. I have no idea. Most people have no idea. I think he's the only one who knows what he wants to do next. We sat down with him the other day, and I promise you, he did not tip his hand. He's like a ninja playing poker. He does not give you anything. I tried. Got nothing. Got absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer narrowly avoided a primary challenge from Democratic Congresswoman AOC last year. You know what? If AOC is going to jump into this race to run a primary against Kristen Gillibrand, she's going to have to start soon. She's going to have to start fundraising. You know, these Senate races take a long time. They take an incredibly long time to run, particularly if you're going to do a statewide race like New York. Now, do I think that AOC will spend any time outside of the 5 boroughs? No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that she'll be going up to Utica, Buffalo, or Rochester. I think she'll take the upstate cities for granted and hope to squeeze out enough votes from the college towns upstate, the Cortland, the Ithaca, Geneseo, Brockport, places like that. I think those are the places where that really could carry AOC over the edge in a race against Kristen Gillibrand because, you know, look, for everything you want to say about AOC, she's an idiot, she's this, she's that, she gets it. Yesterday on my LFA show, 1 p.m., rumble.com/LFATV, we talked about how there needs to be a new wave, a renaissance of young people in the Republican Party, because if not, we will not be able to keep up with the renaissance of young people in the Democratic Party. AOC gets it. She understands social media. She understands the way it works. She's got the look, and she's got national money behind her. It would not shock me whatsoever if AOC jumped in the race against Kristen Gillibrand and campaigned basically from her Instagram. She goes on an Instagram Live. She gets thousands of viewers. She's on TikTok. You think Kristen Gillibrand could do a TikTok dance? And that's what college kids care about. If she's able to squeak out these votes from college Democrats in upstate New York, she's got a real shot at running for Senate. She's got a real shot. And that changes the map in a big way. That changes the map in a very big way, because that sort of Democratic primary is going to cost a lot of money. Breaking into the war chests of people like Kristen Gillibrand, as whoever the Republican candidate is, sits back and watches what happens. Now, any Democrat who runs for office in this state is going to have to talk about crime. We talked about it on the show the other day, that Nancy Pelosi blamed Kathy Hochul for losing the House because she refused to talk about crime. She refused to see crime as the big issue. We all saw it. Congressman Zeldin talked about it nonstop, because that's what's affecting people's lives. And later in the show, we're going to get to just how bad things have gotten in the 5 boroughs. You would not believe the story that's coming out of the New York Post today about what some of these strip malls are doing all across the Bronx. All across the Bronx, and it's gonna lead to it happening across the rest of the 5 boroughs as well, I believe. I've got another story here for you. Let me pull this up real quick about just how bad things have actually gotten. So on this show, we talk a lot about all the migrants that have been bused here to New York. We talk about the migrants that have been bused here to New York from Texas, from Florida, from Arizona, from states around the country. Well, it turns out, shockingly, as if I could have predicted this, as if you could have predicted this, not everyone coming across the border is just some economic refugee looking for work. Not every illegal immigrant crossing the border being bussed here are the best people on planet Earth. Turns out they're not nuclear physicists. They are not into atomic energy. They're not civil engineers. This from the New York Post. 4 migrants bused to New York, arrested for shoplifting $12,000 from Macy's. No way. And this isn't in the city. They were bused to New York City, mind you. This is important to understand. They were bused to New York City. But these 4 migrants that got bused to New York City from Texas were busted in snatching thousands of dollars in merchandise in a Nassau County mall, officials say. The 4 men are accused of driving from the Big Apple to how the hell did they get a car? That's important. I'm curious about that. how newly bussed migrants somehow came up with a vehicle, drove from the Big Apple to Garden City, stealing $12,489 in goods from Macy's at the Roosevelt Field Mall earlier this month, according to county police. Cops caught the crew shortly after the January 9th heist in Hempstead, where one of the men were pulled over for allegedly failing to use a turn signal in a 2006 BMW with bogus plates, a criminal complaint in the case states. So they had fake plates on a BMW and got pulled over for not signaling. That's pretty funny. Guys, use your turn signal. Just do that. It's not hard. You probably would have gotten away with this had you just, hit the blinker. It's not hard, guys. It's common courtesy. Common courtesy. But I guess people who sneak into a country illegally, take a free ride to New York City, steal a car, put bogus plates on it, and knock over a Macy's don't have the common courtesy enough to put their blinker on. The suspects later told a Spanish-speaking Nassau County detective that they came to New York City on a bus from the Lone Star State, said Detective Richard LeBurn. It was unclear when they were brought up north, but Mendez, one of the men, crossed the U.S.-Mexico border on July 4th, 2022, something ironic about that, and the others during September of last year, according to Nassau County Police. Now, these are young people. What are the ages here? 19, 20, 27, and 30. 19, 21, 27, and 30. So it turns out it's not just families. Oh, we've got to take in the women and children. What do you expect them? No, these are military-aged men. Military-aged men who didn't have the common decency to start working when they broke into the country to which they have no business being. I'm not afraid to say it here. I'm not afraid to say that a lot of the people who come to this country illegally have absolutely no business being here. None whatsoever. And we have no responsibility in taking them. Particularly military-aged men. We have enough of them. America is full. Miguel and Rafael Rojas have been living at the Watson Hotel on 57th Street in Manhattan, according to police. Police didn't say exactly what was stolen from the department store. The four suspects appeared in court on January 10th. Rafael Rojas and Escobar were released without bail. And Miguel Rojas and Meza had a bail set at $1,000 and $1,500 respectively. So they knock over a store for more than $12,000 worth of merchandise and then get bail for $1,000. Only two of them did. The other ones got set free with nothing. This is what we do. First off, if you steal $12,000 worth of stuff, your bail should be at least $12,000. And this is not unique to New York. We do this crap on a worldwide level, on a global level. If some country is caught sneaking oil into Iran after sanctions, and the oil tanker has $50 million worth of oil on it, we fine them $1 million, and you're going to keep doing it. If your bail's $1,000, and you just robbed $12,000 worth of stuff, you probably got the money to pay the bail. So what are you going to do? You're going to go out, you're going to knock over another store. During a press conference on Monday, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman said he agrees with Mayor Eric Adams that we have a crisis at the border, and it has now migrated across the United States into the New York City metropolitan area. Well, not for nothing, but that's big of Mayor Adams. You could change this, Mayor Adams. You could stop this crap from happening. When these buses pull up to the Port Authority bus terminal, just keep them going north. Keep them going north and drop them off in Toronto. Why is that so difficult? I understand why Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis are sending them to New York. The majority of New Yorkers asked for them. We're a sanctuary state. We're a sanctuary city. No one here is illegal. And now you want to bitch and moan that it's costing the city too much? And now it's making its way into the suburbs. I know for shit sure that Bruce Blakeman did not say Nassau County is a sanctuary county. But sure enough, when you border the 5 boroughs, you deal with the issues that the 5 boroughs will not tackle. It is an absolute disgrace what is happening to this country. And we've said it before, that every county, every state is now a border state. Nassau County is now a border state. because Mayor Adams refuses to expel these people. And look, when these buses show up to New York, you know the people on them are illegal immigrants. You know that. So why, if you're not going to drop them off in Toronto, why don't you just have that bus go to Kennedy Airport, put them on a plane, and send them right back to hell where they came from? This is not hard stuff, guys. This is not challenging stuff. But of course, we get to hear from the mainstream media that illegal immigrants commit crimes at a lower rate than Americans do, which is not only disingenuous but completely false, considering that every person who comes over the border illegally has broken the law. But Don Lemon won't tell you that. MSNBC won't tell you that, because they think people are stupid. They commit crimes at lower rates than Americans. Who cares? I don't know why that even matters, even if it were true, which, of course, it isn't. This back to the article. I want to be clear, here in Nassau County, our police department is going to be vigilant in making sure that anybody who commits a crime is tracked down, caught, and arrested. Blakeman said thousands of migrants have been bused in New York City from the border after coming to the U.S. for asylum. Well, not everybody gets asylum, all right? Not everybody gets asylum. You have to have a reason. Just because your country sucks doesn't mean we have to take you in. Do you know how many poor people there are in the world? How many poor people are in Latin America, in South America, in Sub-Saharan Africa, in the Middle East, in Asia? Do you know how many poor people there are? We have no room for you. I'm sorry, if you're coming from Guatemala, if you're coming from Costa Rica, if you're coming from Honduras, there is a country closer to where you are than America. You got to walk through Mexico. Stay there. Why is this our problem? Moreover, why is it the problem of people who try to come to this country legally but aren't able to do it within walking distance? Imagine you're an Indian immigrant from India and you're trying to come to America. And now you keep getting pushed back in line by these illegal immigrants because you simply don't have the opportunity to walk here. It's disgusting. There needs to be a halt. There needs to be a halt on what is going on in this country. Adams called on the federal and state law enforcement, the federal and state lawmakers to help foot the bill for the efforts to house migrants in New York City. More than 39,000 asylum seekers. Come on, New York Post, you can do better than that. More than 39,000 illegal immigrants have arrived in the Big Apple since the spring, and they're going to keep coming. I understand this impacts us as New Yorkers. This impacts us as people that live in liberal states. This impacts us in a great deal. But I completely understand why. Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis are busing these people over here. According to them, we asked for them. We asked for this. And now we're getting exactly what we asked for. And we asked for it by not electing a guy like Lee Zeldin, by not electing Joe Pinion, by not electing Allison Esposito. We asked for this. What more could we have done? Who knows? A lot of questions are left open on that one. But crime has gotten so bad in New York City. Crime has gotten so bad that now fed-up New York City merchants have set up private patrols to combat crime. Yes, they are back in a different form. We have a new version of the Guardian Angels as we had in the 70s and 80s here in New York City. A new version of it. That's how bad crime has gotten. A group of the Bronx merchants got so fed up with the rampant crime in New York City that they took matters into their own hands, hiring private security guards in order to keep order at a bustling commercial strip. The 5-person ambassador program is being run by the Fordham Road Business Improvement District Wednesdays through Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. I want to thank the New York Post for letting all the criminals out there know when these private security guards are going to be working. Good job, you idiots. The unarmed ambassadors mandate is to patrol the borough's busiest shopping district along Fordham Road and Jerome Avenue to Washington Avenue. So I'm pretty sure that's over by Yankee Stadium. They will meet and greet merchants and customers to act as a deterrent to thieves and to serve as additional eyes throughout the Fordham neighborhood to report any suspicious or unsafe or criminal activities, according to the Fordham Business District. Bronx Councilman Oswald Feliz, who represents Fordham Road who represents the Fordham Road shopping corridor, said that more has to be done to crack down on serial bandits that are harming our local businesses and our local jobs. Look, this is very important to understand that this isn't even so much local businesses jumping in on this. The national brands are doing it as well. Quote from the article, a few months ago, an American Eagle left Fordham Road. American Eagle, national brand, national, big box store. Only so many things can go into an American Eagle because of the size of the store. Left Fordham Road due to the constant thefts. How many jobs do you think went with them in that neighborhood? How many retail jobs, how many young people do you think lost their job working at American Eagle because they pulled out due to the constant thefts? And if you're wondering how many they may be, this according to Councilman Feliz, the American Eagle store on Fordham Road was robbed 20 times in one day. 20, that's not a robbery, that's a giveaway. If a store is open for, 10 hours a day, you're getting robbed every half hour? What business, what store could afford to stay open during that time period? And it's not like they're going in and stealing a shirt. No, they're going in and they're grabbing the whole scoop and they're running out the door, and nothing is being done about this. Back to the article. No business can survive like this, and we are concerned about the domino effect it's having on other businesses, which are also facing similar challenges. I've spoken with employees who have been threatened with pepper spray and much more, and they are quitting. No one can work under these circumstances, he added. I am learning more about the program, and I hope it helps. Our businesses are the cornerstones of our commercial corridors and neighborhoods that support local jobs, provide local goods, and generate billions in economic development. Wilma Alonso, president and CEO of the Fordham Road Business District, said. But this is what happens. When the jobs leave, what happens? The government fills in. Now remember, these are people. They don't live in a high-end area of New York City. They're trying to make it. What do you think happens to the people who lost their job just at this American Eagle? Or the people who quit their job because they got pepper sprayed by some crackhead who's trying to steal all of the polos off of the shelf? They go on unemployment. They go on benefits. And the cycle of poverty continues. Maybe one of those kids who worked at that American Eagle, who knows, maybe might have become the manager there. Might have actually made a good living for himself. That opportunity is now gone. The opportunity has passed. And it's probably not going to come back, because if you own another national brand, American Eagle, pick another, Old Navy. Why would you move into that neighborhood if you know that the last store left because of all the robberies? That building will never be filled again. It'll never be filled again. Governor Kathy Hochul said she wants to tweak the cashless bail law to give judges more discretion to detain dangerous defendants with long prior records pending trial, but thus far has not been able to affect much change. No shit, because she has no political capital. Because even Democrats don't like her. Politicians, including Mayor Adams, and even civil rights activist Al Sharpton and professional race grifter, are demanding that state lawmakers improve laws to rein in career thieves. Wow. The fact that Al Sharpton is calling on lawmakers to approve laws that rein in career thieves when that's basically what he is incredible. Is incredible. In my opinion. Got to say that way. Sharpton doesn't hit me with a lawsuit like he did Macy's back in the 80s. The Post previously recorded that illegal vendors and gamblers are taking over parts of the Fordham Road commercial strip thanks to a new city law that moved enforcement responsibilities from the NYPD to the Department of Consumer Affairs, which lacks the authority to confiscate goods or even demand identification from the street hawkers. That's hilarious. That's incredible. So if you run into this American Eagle store on Fordham Road, you can steal all of the merchandise. You can then go outside on the curb and resell that stolen merchandise, and there is no mechanism in law enforcement to be able to fix that. There's no mechanism because the NYPD no longer handles it. The Department of Consumer Affairs do. Who is worried about them? You know, when you start with the Department of Consumer Affairs, they give you a roll of quarters. That way, in case things get a little rough, you can run over to a payphone and call the police. Unbelievable. The Fordham Road the Fordham Road Business Department officials emphasized the ambassadors will insist local police not supplement them, and Councilman Felice said he wants to boost spending for the NYPD to put more cops on the beat. Maybe you shouldn't have defunded them in the first place, you hack. Maybe you should have stood up when idiots running for mayor were talking about defunding the police, when they wouldn't stand with our cops. Because guess what? You're never going to be able to make up what you lost in that time. Because first off, if you include more money to hire police officers today, first off, those cops aren't going to be on the street for another 6 months. Moreover, the cops with all the experience have already bailed out. I'm sure if you're watching this right now, you know a bunch of cops in the NYPD that just said, I'm done with this shit. I'm done. I'm taking my retirement and I'm moving down to Florida. How many people you know did that? Those experienced cops are no longer around to show the rookies the ropes, to show them the way things go. And this is what happens when you push this nonsense defund the police thing. But of course, Bill de Blasio, the man who approved taking $1 billion away from the NYPD, where is he right now? Where is he? He's living in the lap of luxury with all the money his wife stole from the city. He's got nothing going on. They cut and run. Yesterday, I actually saw Beetlejuice, the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, tell street vendors that if they wanted to stop getting robbed, they should go to a cashless system. They should only take debit cards. Really? That's your answer, Beetlejuice? Why don't you arrest the criminals? Why don't you get your district attorney, Kim Foxx, to lock up some of the criminals in Chicago, starting with Jesse Smollett? It's unbelievable. These patrol ambassadors make $18 an hour. Really? $18 an hour? So they've got to fend off some of the Bronx's worst criminals and make the same amount of money they could make working at a 7-Eleven? You guys got to be kidding me. This is embarrassing. We are the laughing stock of the country. New York is over. A spokesman for the Fordham Road Business Department said that funding the security initiatives through its assessment levied on merchant members, though it receives discretionary grants from the city council through Felice. Curtis Lewa called the Fordham Road private security nothing more than patchwork. Of course it is. And he would know better than anybody. When he formed the Guardian Angels back in 1979, he did it out of a necessity. They weren't getting paid. They were just there standing around, keeping an eye on things. When vigilantes have to start patrolling our subways, patrolling our streets, patrolling our business districts, how is that not a cue to some of these left-wing people, some of these left-wing city council members, that the jig is up, the game is over? Your plans for defunding the police and letting criminals out simply do not work. But Alvin Bragg doesn't care. Alvin Bragg doesn't give a shit because he doesn't have to shop on Fordham Road. No. He has one of his minions go do that. It's disgusting. The business group is looking for a more permanent funding source to continue the ambassador program beyond February. So they don't even have enough money to fund this thing for the next month. It's unbelievable. The Patrol Ambassador program is great. It is helpful for the businesses to have another security presence other than the NYPD. There are incidents on the streets as well, and the ambassadors are helpful deterrents to, said the manager of Jimmy Jazz on Fordham Road. Merchants said that thefts isn't the only concern. Violent crime is a big worry. Of course it is. Earlier this month, an 8-month pregnant woman was blasted in the leg by a stray bullet while walking the Grand Concourse near 192nd Street in Fordham Manor. The Post recently reported that grocers in other parts of the Bronx are cracking down on serial thieves by slipping steel chains through the handles of laundry detergent bottles and securing them with padlocks. What are we doing? So these serial thieves are coming into laundromats and stealing the detergent? And then what, reselling half a bottle of laundry detergent on the next corner? If people aren't speaking out about this, if you're watching this in New York City and you're not calling your council person, then quite frankly, I do not know what the hell you are doing. The justice system is not cooperating, and it's getting to a point where you either have to padlock every item that has been stolen or you have to fight back. Fernando Mateo said he's the head of the United Bodegas of America president. It's unbelievable. And if you fight back, you take the risk of going to jail for protecting your own property, as we saw. What the hell was his name? The bodega owner who was taken to jail for murder after defending his own life. Curtis Lewa, the founder of the Guardian Angels Volunteer Patrol, started back in the 1970s, called the Fordham Road Private Security Patrol, is nothing more than patchwork. The patrol is not going to work. They can't put their hands on anybody. They have to call 911. It all goes back to the police. You need more police. No shit. Instead of doing that, why don't you just have cops walking up and down Fordham Road? You put one cop on one end, one cop on the other, and just have them walk back and forth for 8 hours a day. That would stop all the burglaries right there. But no, we can't do that. We can't stop suspicious people and see what they're up to. Because the ACLU wants to say that that's not fair for their civil rights. Well, what about the civil rights of honest and hard-working people? Meanwhile, Francisco Marte, head of the Bodega and Small Business Association, said private patrols are not enough. There's only so much they can do. We need more police. We don't have consequences for criminals. We have to prosecute criminals, process them, and not give them desk appearance tickets. No shit. It's unbelievable. It is staggering. How people cannot see what is happening here. How people refuse to admit that they were wrong and change their ways. The city's gone. The city is absolutely gone. Before we get to our big local story about Babylon Schools, guys, if you're watching on Rumble, make sure you smash that Rumble button. Share this video out across all your social media platforms. You know we appreciate the support. That's the best way to support this show is to head on over to loudmajorityus.com. Sign up for our newsletter. Check out our shop. We got everything over here. That is the best way to support what we're doing. If you're on Facebook, hit the like button. Hit that like button. Tag your friends in the comments so that they can see what's going on in New York City as well. Help grow the channel. Invite your friends to like the page. We talked about this a couple weeks ago on the show. What's going on in the Babylon School District with creepy-ass teachers who refuse to stop grooming children. And yeah, I said it. So if YouTube's got a problem with it, you can kiss my ass. This from Newsday. Babylon Schools moved to fire 2 teachers who are already on leave. The Babylon School District is seeking to terminate 2 of the 3 teachers who have been on paid leave for more than a year since former students accused a dozen current and former Babylon junior and senior high school educators of misconduct at a contentious school board meeting in November of 2021. So it turns out, if you get a little handsy with students in Babylon, you get a year's vacation paid for with benefits without even having to go to work. So imagine being these teachers in Babylon that have been put on leave. You got to stay home for 2 years because of COVID, and then you got put on administrative paid leave for another year, all because you are a creep. 3 years of never having to go to work. And we wonder why education levels in this country are falling behind Romania and Mongolia. Mongolia barely has running water, but they have better math scores than we do. Babylon School Board formally began the state-mandated process that the school district must follow in order to terminate a tenured educator by voting to file state disciplinary charges against the unidentified teachers at Monday's school board meeting. Interim Superintendent Brian Conboy said at the meeting that the charges are related to the accusations raised at the school board meeting in November of 2021. He confirmed by email Tuesday that the 2 teachers facing state disciplinary charges were reassigned to home after that meeting. This is, it blows my mind that they can get a year's pay while being on leave after being accused of getting a little too handsy with many of the students. And according to a lot of the people in Babylon, there's some people in the chat who know about this because when we talked about it last time, these people spoke up, that apparently this has been going on for years, decades, with some of these teachers. Since I was in high school, some people were saying that everybody knew about it and nobody did anything about it. Everybody knew and nobody did anything about it. And now you have teachers being paid to stay home for an entire year. In a statement, the Babylon School Board president said that we have told the community this board has made a commitment to take every step possible under the fullest extent of the law to protect our students and let them know that they feel safe in the buildings. As part of that commitment, we are moving ahead with a 30-20, a proceeding against these individuals. They will remain on leave outside of the classroom and away from students until this process will be concluded. I wonder if they're still teaching. But they're just doing it from home. To dismiss a tenured educator, school districts follow a procedure known as 30-20, which is the section title in state law. A state-approved arbitrator decides whether the school proved its case and then the appropriate penalty. Education law experts have told Newsday school districts use this process to seek termination. So now the arbitrator has to be paid, and the lawyers have to be paid. The lawyers have to be paid from the union. The lawyers have to be paid for the school district. The arbitrator has to be paid. People have to take time off work. This is why it costs damn near $1 million to fire a creepy-ass teacher on Long Island. Thank you, Teachers Union. For all you Teachers Union people who like to follow me around to all of our meetings, and you like to leave notes on Sean's car, which you've done numerous times, I want to thank you for standing up for the people who matter, the creepy teachers, instead of the kids. Because as I've said before, and I'll say it again, that unions are there to advocate for their members. So if they're advocating for their members, the teachers, who are they advocating against? Because they're either advocating against the schools, which is the taxpayer, or they're advocating against the students. This is why it is so difficult in New York to just get rid of a bad teacher. The school should be able to say, oh, you groped a student? Get out! And never come back. But no, they've got to spend $1 million and a years-long process going through arbitration, jumping through all the hoops, just to get rid of a guy who has clearly been sitting on paid leave for at least a year. I'm sure he'll be paid another year's salary. And here's what'll happen. The arbitrator will come back with a settlement. They'll say, okay, if he agrees to retire, he leaves. So they don't get to spend the rest of his life on a half pension after groping students for decades. It's unbelievable. The school board's decision to pursue the state's disciplinary charges come a little more than a week after Newsday reported the detailed how Babylon dealt with these sexual harassment complaints years before the former students blamed the district in November of 2021 for the mishandling of similar allegations. Documents Newsday obtained from the school district last month show how Babylon kept teacher Barry Goldsall, whatever the gold asshole, employed at the school for more than a decade until his retirement in 2018. Despite determining complaints he sexually harassed 7 female student athletes were credible. So this guy got off scot-free. Nothing's going to happen to him. Nothing's going to happen. First off, I'm sure the statute of limitations on sexual harassment have lapsed, so they wouldn't be able to file criminal charges against him, and this guy gets a pension for the rest of his life on the taxpayer dime. Goldshaw was among a dozen current and former teachers that alums accused of misconduct at the board meeting in 2021. Those allegations against those teachers and the school for mishandling the complaints led State Attorney General and giant useless person Letitia James days after to launch an investigation into the district, and her office said this month that the probe continues. Well, thank you for investigating something that matters rather than the CEO of the Trump administration, because he filled out the wrong tax form. Before James announced the announcement of the investigation, Babylon had already hired an outside attorney, which I'm sure cost an absurd amount of money, Christopher Powers from the Hauppauge-based Ingram & Smith. Oh my God. Ingram & Smith. We talked about this last year. This is the law firm that all the schools hire. All the schools hire to do all of their bidding. If you go to your school board meeting and there's an attorney there, they're probably from Ingram and Smith. To do a probe into current employees, Powers also has said this month his investigation remains ongoing. The district initially reported a flurry of allegations in November of 2021 by placing 5 teachers on paid leave. 5 teachers on paid leave. So now we have 5 teachers staying home. 5 teachers being paid to do nothing. The district said earlier this month that 3 teachers remain on administrative reassignment and declined to provide further details. Administrative reassignment. What the hell does that even mean? On Monday night, at Monday night school board meeting, Conboy addressed the Newsday story, saying the school administrators have been working since the start of the school year to restore whatever needs to be restored, whether it's faith or trust and confidence, whatever may have been lost based on the accusations brought in November of 2021. Well, I can tell you what, I'll be at that school board meeting next month. I cannot wait till this show is over to look up when that is. It's unbelievable. The school district also sent a message to parents last week about the Newsday story that reads, "We cannot comment on individual personnel matters or factors that led to the previous boards to take the actions they took. What we can say is, and want the Babylon community to know, is that we find this behavior has been alleged of past and current of staff members of this district abhorrent, unacceptable, and a stain on the district that must be rectified." Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. In the past 15 months, 1 Babylon teacher resigned and agreed to never seek employment at a school nationwide, and another high school teacher was arrested on rape charges. What is going on at Babylon High School? 2 miles from my damn house. 2 miles from where I grew up. Nobody said it, and this is why I say it on both of these shows all the time. People have to speak up. If people didn't speak up at that November 2021 school board meeting in Babylon, nothing would have changed. Nothing would have changed. These people would have went on and continued their disgusting behavior with our kids, with the kids of our community. It's nauseating. When we went over this the first time a couple of weeks ago on this show, one of the girls who stepped forward who said she was sexually harassed by this teacher in Babylon High School, her and I were the same age. We were the same age. Which makes me sit back and think, how many people that I went to high school dealt with the same thing and never said anything about it? How many of them dealt with the same thing with the same kinds of teachers and never said anything about it? How many of these creeps are still working in our schools? And this isn't the sort of culture war issue that we tend to fight on this show all the time, where we talk about the sexualization of children, where we talk about bringing drag queens into schools. This is not the same sort of thing. These are predators in our schools. You drop your kids off there every day for 8 hours a day, and you think they're going to be safe. I tell you what, there is no punishment strong enough for these people, yet they sit home on administrative leave and get paid to do nothing. They get paid to do nothing. They don't even have to face the consequences of paying for the legal bills because the union picks up that nut. The union picks up that tab, and they'll drag this on for as long as they possibly can. And I'm sure a lot of these people will retire with half or 3/4 or full pensions, depending on how long they've taught for. No justice will happen. None whatsoever. Guys, we're pulling up on 9 o'clock. Very happy to start the day off with you guys. If you guys want, head on over to rumble.com/LFATV. Jeremy Harrell is doing his morning show, Rise Up, for everybody over there. And then a full day of LFA shows as usual. Starting with Jeremy at 9, Sean at 10, Jeremy at 11 again, Crispy at 12, and I'm back here with you at 1 p.m. Anna Perez at 3, Isabella Moody at 4, and then Jeremy Harrell again at 5. I don't know how the hell he does it. Guys, please head on over there, hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button on this page, rumble.com/LoudMajorityUS. If you're on Facebook, hit the like button. Invite your friends to like the page, guys. So much is going to be going on between now and the summer with the Loud Majority, with stuff going on here on Long Island. You're not going to want to miss out on any of it. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, head on over to loudmajorityus.com. Sign up for that newsletter. Check out our shop. Guys, happy Wednesday. Be good. Stay loud.